Sara Peel. I'm the Watershed Coordinator for the Wabash Land Conservancy in the Otter Creek Project. We're in our second phase of the project where we're focusing on implementing on-the-ground conservation practices in mostly the agricultural areas in Otter Creek. So Otter Creek, for those of you who aren't familiar, starts in Brazil and Carbon and drains to the west, kind of flowing north and west and emptying into the Wabash River on the north side of North Terre Haute. So this conservation program will actually pay for you to implement practices on your property where you farm or work. We can pay for up to 75% of the cost of different practices, everything from cover crops to conservation tillage, grass waterways, water and sediment basins. And we can even help with modifying your equipment in order to install these practices in the correct way, in the best way possible. The funding comes from the Indiana Department of Environmental Management, and so it works on a reimbursement basis. You submit an application, our committee approves it, you implement the practice, and then we send you a check. We try to say it's quick and painless, but it takes about 8 weeks probably after you submit for your payment to actually receive your check in the mail. We actually have funding to implement things probably not next week, but as early as April, if you're thinking April practices or projects like a tillage based application, or things for this fall, like installing a heavy use area, or some type of other livestock practice, or planting cover crops. All of those are still fundable for this year, and we have funding through the end of 2022. So you can apply for 1 year of funding or 2 years of funding, depending on the type of practice and project that you're implementing. Plant cover crops in the fall. You typically do that either right before your crops are harvested or right after, depending on the type of, whether you're planting after corn or soybeans. And the way that you're applying those, whether you're flying them on or using some type of seeder that's moving through the field. So everyone's kind of waiting for the rest of this crazy snow that's going to go through in the next few weeks to move through the area and the fields to dry off. You're not yet probably out planting, and so it's a great time to reach out and contact us. You can reach out to me at ottercreekwatershed@gmail.com or to any of the 3 Soil and Water Conservation District NRCS offices in Vigo, Clay, or Park counties. So yeah, why are we implementing practices in Otter Creek? So a lot of people are familiar. About 10 years ago, the Indiana Department of Environmental Management did a study where they went through and assessed a lot of the water quality points throughout the watershed, and they identified really high level of pathogens or E. coli. And we, the Wabash Land Conservancy, worked with a lot of local partners to then use those data and additional data to look at nutrients, sediment, pathogens, assess what's going on in the watershed in terms of land use and soil types and the like, and develop a stepwise plan that can provide some cohesive actions to tie all of us together to have a positive impact on both Otter Creek and the Wabash River. So you doing your small part on your farm or in your backyard can have a positive impact on Otter Creek and then on the Wabash River itself. So a lot of us are looking at our own impacts and how what we're doing locally is having a greater impact across the board throughout Clay and Vigo and Park counties. And collectively, we are all, if you're looking at the Gulf of Mexico, which is a little bit farther afield, we're sending heavily nutrient-laden and sediment-laden waters downstream. And so you have this ability to do your own small thing in your own backyard.